You have found Authentic Business Adventures, the business program that brings you the struggle stories and triumphant successes of business owners across the land. Downloadable audio episodes can be found in the podcast link found at drawincustomers.com. We are locally underwritten by the Bank of Sun Prairie, and today we're welcoming / preparing to learn from Brienne Hennessy, owner of Your Vocal Vitality. And I'm excited because it's a podcast and we chat a lot.
Yep.
So, Brienne, let's start with what is Your Vocal Vitality?
It is the business that I started with the mission of empowering our voices. And what that means to me is that our voices are an expression of who we are, but also, I believe, a conduit to our well-being. And what do I mean by that? If you don't have your voice, you can't do what you need to do effectively.
Interesting.
And so that's the idea behind it, and I go about that in a few different ways.
All right. And you've been in this industry for a while?
Yes. So my background is actually as a speech and voice pathologist, and I've done that 14 years.
Wow.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. So that was the kind of core crux of my training and my specialty, and really digging into knowing all things about voice. And then that really opened up the possibility for me to fill in the gaps that I saw, shall we say, for where I could serve people in a greater way.
All right.
Yeah.
So you work, and I imagine, for some corporate giant?
Used to, yes.
All right.
Yes. So a couple of the places I've been fortunate enough to learn from was Emory Voice Center in Atlanta. I was then at Vanderbilt Voice Clinic in Nashville, Tennessee.
Okay.
And most recently, I was at UW Voice and Swallow Clinic just down the street in Madison.
Gotcha. Mm-hmm. So what made you make the jump from there, you know, the biweekly paycheck, the paid vacation, whatever, the things, to starting off on your own?
In the day-to-day, my favorite thing was sitting in front of that person in the room and being able to interact with them in their voice.
All right.
Anything outside of that started to become very heavy, and that could be anything from the responsibility load that was increasing. For those of you in healthcare, you know that is continuing to be a challenging time for folks. Plus, I saw this continual gap between folks who would come in and say, I don't know what's going on with my voice. I've been able to talk for X number of years. Why now? I never heard of this before. I didn't know I could take care of my voice before something goes wrong. And that gap never really closed. And so I saw this opportunity to be preventative, to be proactive. And for most things in healthcare, we talk about preventative wellness, but I don't always see the follow through with that.
No, not at all. No. Not at all. Because I think we'd be told to exercise more and eat better.
Yeah.
But we are now told, I should say, here's a pill.
Yes. Who wants the quick fix?
Go away.
Yes. How can I make this go away quickly enough? And I think there's a bigger holistic approach we could take.
Totally understand. Yeah. So when I met you, I remember thinking, wait, what do you do? Because I understand if you want to be healthy, right, quote unquote, exercise, eat well, but making your voice healthy, that never dawned on me. What do you do? Like, I'm trying to think, you do barbells on your vocal cords or something. How do you how do you take care of your voice?
The crux of it does come down a lot to exercises. There are actual exercises, and most people think of, for example, well, it must be only for singing. But my focus is really the speaking voice. You and I spend the majority of our time speaking, as do many professions.
Arguably too much, right?
Sometimes, admittedly, I'm a talker. I'll own it. And so that is something that we can look at and say, if you're speaking for an extensive period of time and your voice starts to crack, starts to sound hoarse, you can't get through a work day, let alone a work week, there has to be something more we can do, and exercises are a great start. But the other piece of that is exercises alone aren't enough. For example, if anyone listening has ever had the experience of speaking out, sharing your opinion, asserting yourself, leading a group or a show, and not feeling heard, that can take an emotional toll as well.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So it comes into both sides of the voice. If you are physically overdoing it too much, too loud, too often, you're going to feel that. Whether you're a sports coach, a teacher in the classroom, sales on the phone, whatever the case may be. But on the flip side, I've even had clients who don't feel heard at their own dinner table with their families.
And is this because of their voice or their tone?
Ultimately,
or?
yeah, good question. It can come across that way. I believe the voice is a barometer, so it's going to give those little signals that something underlying is probably the culprit. It can be how they believe about themselves and whether they think they're worthy to be heard. And that's the biggest thing that I started to see over the years. Self-worth, or a lack of self-worth, was actually being expressed through their voice. So you add that to the stresses of the day, how much you have to talk, and that can all culminate as risk factors for the voice starting to have issues.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So it goes well beyond just how are your vocal cords.
Yes, but to your question about tone, that's the first thing most of us humans perceive. What is someone's tone? What is it telling us? It's going to give a lot of clues, and there are times where the tone of voice can be misunderstood. I spent the first 32 years of my life being misunderstood for my tone of voice. And
32 years?
Oh, yeah.
That seems like a while.
It
Was
was.
it monotone? Was it high? Were you
It
super low? I
was-
don't know.
Yeah, no, great question. There are folks that do experience that and kind of get stuck like in a certain type of voice. Think of mine was more, I would say something and express myself, and it would come across as maybe too harsh or too irritable, too frustrated, whatever the person perceived it as. And internally, I'm thinking, I'm just trying to share. I'm just trying to express myself.
Right.
But there was this disconnect between me believing in what I was saying truly and trusting what I was saying and how my voice was conveying that. And so when people didn't perceive me as hearing kind of what I was trying to say, that would start to create these like miscommunications, these difficulties. Then you have tone of voice, like, yes, we all know folks who are either monotone, they just don't have a lot of variation in their voice. Sometimes that is from other issues, but often they just don't feel comfortable being outside of this little box where they kind of hover here.
Yeah, you
They
typically
kind of
see shy.
It tends to be with some
Introverted,
personality
yeah.
characteristics. Then you have types of voices that can sometimes grind on the ear a little bit. For example, if we pulled a Kardashian voice right now, this is kind of where people live. If they live here for too long, that also can reduce your impact. You can't project your voice in that mode. And then we have the times where if someone is going into, let's say, projected voice, we all know someone who walks in the room and you know they're there. And that's a beautiful thing to be able to have that physical capacity, but it also means you're going 110% all of the time. And no body or body system can sustain that.
I might be a little guilty here.
Okay, all right.
Yeah,
so
sorry.
interesting, right? Like you can just start to kind of take inventory of like, what do I do with my voice? Where do I overdo it? It's a very powerful and resilient instrument. It's just not invincible, which
Fair.
I think a lot of people mistake.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you just assume. I imagine it's like eyesight. And you're talking to a guy that I was just in the urgent care because I used a circular saw without safety glasses.
Oh,
Like a moron, right? It's dumb. I've done it
Right.
hundreds of times before.
Right?
And if it was ever an issue, you just kind of rub it and just deal with it for, and a few minutes later you're fine.
Yeah.
This time I wasn't fine. And I remember sitting in the urgent care thinking, I wanted to save time. The safety glasses where I had to look for them, right? So I just got to make this cut quick,
Right.
no big thing.
Right.
And now I'm in urgent care for whatever reason is a half hour away.
Yeah.
So it took, I don't know, 3 hours thinking around.
Yeah. Exactly.
And I'm like, that was more time than if I would have just grabbed the safety glasses.
Absolutely. But isn't that funny how, yes, as humans, we live, usually by the mistakes we make, but there's also so much to be said for what do we want to prioritize for the things that are important to us, like our eyesight and like our voice. It's the same thing. Folks come in and say to me, but I've screamed at my kids' games before, or I'll go to the football match and shout and cheer, or the concert, and my voice is fine the next day until it wasn't.
Right.
And then they're 3 days into work, a week into work, 2 weeks later, and something's still not right, and it's already starting to impact their productivity, their communication, and physically they don't feel well. It's not them anymore. It's not their voice. Yeah.
So when I'm sitting at my kid's soccer game and the parents around me are screaming at the kids, it's always, my kid and I always joke about it after the game because the parents are yelling something like, shoot it. Like the kid's going to be like, good thought.
Yeah, exactly.
So I can just tell them, hey, you haven't warmed up your voice yet, so maybe just don't say anything this game.
Yeah.
And then next game when I'm not here, you can talk all you want.
I think that's totally reasonable. Folks don't even think twice about it for the most part. I'm a big fan of anything non-vocal. So if you're the parent with the cowbell or the maracas or whatever you want to choose, it's a great way to preserve your voice. And it doesn't mean you can't express yourself that way. Not at all. This is a what's best for your instrument. Have you warmed up and prepared it? And do you know your signs if it does start to feel a little tweaked? So like if someone's shouting and they think, oh, whoops, I felt a scratch, but they keep powering through and shouting, it was probably the sign that they were headed in the wrong direction.
So I can remember being at a concert.
Yeah.
Well, just about any concert I've been to, when I don't know if I'm singing along or screaming woo or whatever, but the next morning you wake up and you're like, oh.
Pretty like this.
That's not right.
No, yep, not right at all. And we are inherent healers. I believe we can heal ourselves, and yet if the voice, the rule of thumb typically, if the voice has not resolved itself within 2 weeks, that needs to be looked at by a
2 weeks, that seems like a long time.
It is a long time, especially for those who are voice professionals who are like, wait, nope, I need it now.
Yeah, how about now?
And then we get into this sense of, okay, but I'll just keep talking. That'll warm up my voice. It usually puts more pressure on it when there's already a sign that there's an injury. So there are things that can be done to triage it. I do help folks kind of triage through those acute times, but it really comes down to, all right, what steps are you going to take so that this doesn't happen again?
All right.
And if it does, how can you reduce that time? So it's not 2 weeks, and you're not putting yourself at long-term injury.
So what are you having people do? Is it something as simple as calling them on the phone and saying, hey, I have no idea. I don't know. Gargle salt water? I have no idea.
No, great. That is great for some colds and some laryngitis type symptoms. I prefer more interactive work when possible. Of course, in person is my favorite. Virtual is what most of my business ended up going into, as we all a lot of us had to the last 3 years.
It's funny. I'm totally ignorant of this, so I'm super interested.
Yeah.
It's just like, what do you do?
Yeah. I actually take people through ways to look at how they're using their voice. Like your examples are perfect. If you go through your week and you're like, what do I do with my voice every day? And then there are actual exercises. It can be anything from, some people have heard of things like humming or doing a lip trill, for example. So if I was to do something like,
all right,
that can help warm up a voice.
Can it really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, in certain doses, in certain ways that are feeling really easy and good for the person. Things like humming in the shower, really good on the voice. Things like belting aloud to every song in the car on a road trip, not so great for the voice.
Well, I'm doing it all wrong. Okay.
But it's not, again, to take anything away. It's more just to notice like, ooh, how much am I doing and when, and have I overdone it? So those are some of the kind of technical exercises, but the other things really come down to, are you aware of your body? Are you aware of your breath? Are you speaking in a way that actually feels good to you, or by the end of the day, are you exhausted and it's because of the way you're talking?
So that last one, how do you know that?
Good question. Most people describe it as a fatigue or a pain or a soreness here.
Okay.
So they'll say, oh my gosh, I just feel like I can't get another word out. I didn't even want to read to my kids tonight at bed. And they just feel an ache, sometimes physical ache. Sometimes they feel an overall just sense of drained and exhaustion. And other times, like when you wake up in the morning after that concert, if you go to talk and you're like, wow, I'm having to really push to get my voice out, those are some of the common signs.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So what is happening physically in your larynx, throat, whatever?
Yes, exactly. If you put your hand here and then you make a sound, hum, whatever the case may be, especially at your Adam's apple, go up a little higher, you're going to feel vibrations. That's normal. The vocal folds are coming together and vibrating. So what's physically happening is our larynx is the housing. The vocal folds are like a little V. They just sit this way in the throat. And as right now, you're breathing, James, so they're just open. Mine are moving and vibrating because I'm talking. And so that's happening because the breath is coming up through the vocal folds, making them vibrate very fast. We're talking anywhere from 100 times a second up to, if a high soprano sang a high note, at 1,000 times a second.
A second?
A second.
Holy cow. Okay, that's bees wings type speed.
Yes, exactly. So this is where we perceive things like pitch, like a low pitch and a high pitch and all of the things in between. That has to do with that rate of vibration. So then it's one thing to say, okay, I've got my breath going through the vocal folds, but what happens if we don't have anything else? It would just sound like a buzz. We need to have it resonate or travel through the spaces of our head and neck. So you put that on, and that's why you sound like you, and I sound like me, and we each can have our own unique sound because we actually have a space, a filter to pass that sound through.
So it's like a toweling tube or something like that?
Yeah, exactly. And so the exercises themselves, it's not necessarily always some specific exercise. It's what actually activates the optimal way for you to take that breath in the right amount, through the vocal folds in the right amount, and make sure that it's amplified through your face and nose and sinuses in a way that actually projects and feels good to you.
All right.
Yeah.
So when you feel sore
Yeah.
from talking too much, like now that we're talking about this, I don't know if it's just because we're talking about it,
It
or
happens.
because I've been babbling all day.
Like, wait a second.
Oh, wait a second. That's not a good feeling.
Yeah.
Is the idea that you're fatiguing?
Essentially, you can think of it very loosely related to like a skeletal muscle fatigue that you would experience, say, going to the gym or the end of a long day. The structures and the system of the voice is a little bit slightly different, however, very similar. The fatigue can happen to the muscles around, so we're supporting our larynx here. This is like, think of it like a little suspension system. The larynx is just kind of dangling in the neck and supported by muscles out here. So you may even go, oh, that's tender. Like you can actually feel it. Like you go to the massage therapist and they hit that sweet spot. It's kind of like that. So there's massages and things that can be done. Internally, tissue can fatigue. So think of it like getting a blister on your foot.
Okay.
After a while, because of that friction, that's going to create a stress and strain that then the tissue is just like, no. And usually when that happens, you're either going to feel it as a scratchy feeling, you're going to feel it as a cutting in and out, or you'll start to notice that there's no more consistency to your quality. Usually when that happens, when we take a look with a scope, we can actually see that little changes to the tissue have happened, like a blister growing on the vocal folds, or like a kind of a section of strained muscle, if you will. And that's when we need to say, whoa, here's the plan. We're going to try to reorient how you're using your sound.
So that to me sounds like you're sticking a camera down someone's...
I used to do that every single day.
Every single day?
Yep. I've probably scoped thousands of voices at this point.
Holy cow.
Yeah, it's incredible. It's an incredible instrument. We can look with a scope through the mouth or through the nose. It's not as scary as you would think. Don't worry.
Science fiction freaky.
Done it, I know. I've done it on everything from 2-year-olds all the way up to 95-year-olds.
Wow.
So, yeah, but it's fascinating because the important thing is this is an instrument that lives in the dark. Can you think of any other musician who can't see and take apart their instrument? No.
Not many. Stevie Wonder, I don't know.
Right. I mean, but even then, he plays piano. Right? He's singing, sure. But as far as vocalists go, from a speaking standpoint and singing standpoint, we don't see this instrument. And yet, if something's going wrong, we've got to be able to look at the physical structure and be able to see the vocal folds vibrate, which we can do. It's pretty cool. Right. We use a special light called a stroboscopy light, the short term, strobe. So yes, like a party on the dance floor, you got your strobe light going. Right. What happens when you see the dancer on the floor, right? They look like they're going in slow motion. It's the same idea with the vocal folds, because remember how fast I said they vibrate? You can't see that with the naked eye.
Oh,
so
interesting.
all it looks like is fuzzy until you get the strobe light in there, and then you can see the detail. And it's
like a
really cool
timing light on a car.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So let's just say you stick that camera down there
Yeah.
and you see some bad stuff.
Yeah.
What do? How do you fix it?
At that point, ideally, you are already with a specialist. I'm a big fan of specialty in this case because this is not an everyday, primary care physician kind of issue. This is a specialty where folks like speech language pathologists who have specialized in voice, ENTs who have specialized in voice, know the refined detail and latest research. So when we look down and we say, oh, something's going wrong, there's already a physical change, there's a lump, bump, lesion, etc., we can create a treatment plan that usually looks something like voice therapy. That is the best way to start getting the voice to work as its optimal way. There is often a indication for maybe some lifestyle changes. Maybe it's how much talking, maybe it's things like allergies, sinus stuff, reflux, acid, all of this. And then the final thing is meeting with the laryngologist. That basically means an ENT, ear, nose, and throat doctor, who spent an extra year specializing in voice.
Wow.
And similarly, when that laryngologist has a team, like I worked on with a speech and voice pathologist, someone who trained as a speech pathologist but took an extra year to learn voice, you are literally getting a comprehensive approach to something that otherwise I've seen many times go untreated and get worse for people if they weren't headed in the right direction.
Interesting.
So
okay.
it's really cool because between conservative things like voice therapy and lifestyle management, you are much more likely to avoid voice surgery. There are some instances that people need to have surgery on their voices, and ultimately that much more prepared to have longevity. To your talk.
You know, my dad
Yeah.
had surgery on his voice after a
he?
stroke. Yeah.
Wow.
He had a stroke 2 years ago, roughly.
Okay.
I remember it was during pandemic because we couldn't see him in the hospital. So that's that's how you know.
That's how, yeah.
But so when he got out of the hospital, he had a very high pitched voice.
Did he?
It was surreal, not to the point of helium.
Yeah.
But it sounded like somebody was trying to sound like a little girl.
Yeah.
And
I bet that was really frustrating.
So he had surgery.
Wow.
And now it's better, but it's not the same voice.
Especially when something like neurologic happens to it as well, let alone, not being who you remember him sounding like.
Yeah. It was bizarre.
Yeah.
He went through a lot of changes, a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Physically and whatever.
Yeah.
That's still, don't have a stroke.
I know, right? Speaking of preventative care, make sure there's other ways to prevent that too. Oh,
so it's interesting because in that case, or in surgery on the voice, what are they doing?
Depends solely on what the diagnosis is. So, for example, some people who may have a lump or bump, they need that removed. Other people are not getting their vocal folds to close completely, so they are having a lot of air escape. So they need help stenting it or bringing them closer, for example. Other folks that I worked with ultimately would present with laryngeal cancers and actually have their entire voice box removed.
Whoa.
Yeah, and so we help them in different ways to restore a sound, an ability to make some sound and speak again, but it can really run the gamut. And so it was, I think, most fascinating in that gap I talked about preventative care. People would say, well, maybe it started 6 months ago, a year ago, and by that time, for example, when you think of a blister, if you let a blister just go, like it could just get worse and worse and worse. It's similar with this. Some of those impact lesions, those lesions that come from lots of impact and stress, if they get worse over time, it's going to be harder to remedy with therapy, harder to remedy just with conservative measures. So I always thought it was great for the really excellent surgeons that I worked with. Surgeons don't want to do surgery, you realize.
Oh.
They get into surgery because,
I did not realize that.
Talented at this. But the surgeons don't want to get to that point if they don't have to. They want people to make those lifestyle and behavioral changes. They want it to be a quicker recovery time. Voice surgery means you have to be on voice rest completely, no talking, for minimum 3 days, sometimes up to 7 days.
Wow.
I don't know any, including myself. If you want to try to experiment that with yourself this afternoon, be like, can I not say a word? It's tough. It impacts your quality of life. It's, yes, something that is temporary, but it really is a lot to ask, like your urgent care visit. Like, man, can I afford a surgery, afford to lose that much time of work, afford to shift my way of being?
Yeah. I'm just
only.
thinking about no singing in the car.
That's right.
No complaining about traffic.
No.
No communicating with your kid.
No.
No.
Now, some things you might want.
Yeah.
Reduce.
No telling the parents behind me at my kid's soccer game that they're ruining their voice.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
They should be quiet. Right?
You just become someone with a sign, a little whiteboard.
Right.
You're like, here's what it is. And that's and honestly, there are some times where that becomes kind of a useful temporary measure for folks. But ultimately, again, the surgeons are there to make sure that the whole person is treated. And the reason that they enjoy and excel at being surgeons is because when you do have surgery, especially with the folks who are at the UW Voice Clinic, they are pristine.
All right.
You don't want to be with just like Bob's pretty good surgeon down the road.
No. Bob's pretty good surgeon.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. It's
Oh, funny.
remarkable, kind of the differences in, and I get it. Everybody has, I think, choices in most cases with healthcare, but I think there's something to be said for second opinions, for ensuring you're in the right place.
Totally.
A lot of times we get asked often, especially when I worked in Nashville, which is also known as Music City. So a lot of different types of folks would come in who do have singing careers. One of the things that gets heard of a lot are those horror stories, right? Things like, I had surgery, but they left me with scar.
Oh.
Scar does not sound like yourself anymore. The vocal folds need to be pliable and loose. I had surgery, but my range is gone. I had surgery, but I can't talk as long as I need to. So there are still practitioners out there that are not on the most up-to-date safe procedures.
Interesting.
So
okay.
that's also part of my work. I love answering folks' questions to be able to say, where do you live? Who can I send you to? Because I want you to just do not pass go, do not collect $200, go straight to the source, you know?
All right.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So in your business,
Yeah.
who are the people that you are typically helping? Are they typically,
Yeah.
I mean, you go towards like singers or podcasters, I don't know, people that are jabbering too much?
Yeah, well, for the most part, it's really fascinating because once people start to consider how can I be proactive about my voice, a lot of folks that I've seen are entrepreneurs, usually ones who have a podcast, who are needing to coach their clients, who are leading their teams, so they are talking a lot, who are speaking on stage. So I focus in on the speaking voice, but then there are folks who are educators. I have a big heart for teachers, and teachers are one of the most at-risk populations for a voice change.
They're talking all day.
All day. And then expected to go home and talk some more usually. And it's challenging in an environment where there's maybe not the best acoustics. Maybe there is, harder to command classrooms. And teachers can really have a struggle once they start to have changes to their voice. There can also be folks who are wanting to feel more confident, speak up more. And so those are the type of folks I work with as well.
All right.
So singing comes into it in some of the exercises we do because I think it's fun and I think everyone can sing for the joy of it regardless of how it sounds.
Fair.
And it's not my primary focus as far as if you're a singer, I will direct you to some of the wonderful singing and voice instructors that I know. However, I want people to really look at their voice as a tool and a thing that they can love.
All right.
Yeah.
So when somebody comes to you, are they typically coming to you because they have a problem, or they're aware, they're smart enough, smarter than me, and want to fix it before it's broken, kind of thing?
A little bit of both. Usually, though, they've already kind of veered into noticing things like my voice cuts out when I get nervous, or I have this big presentation coming up. What am I going to do? And they want to be more proactive. But for the most part, especially in the last couple years, I've been able to really shift it to where folks know to come to me on the early stages.
All right.
So maybe they've started noticing, but only because, like you just did, you're like, wait, oh, that does sound like me, or actually I could notice some of those symptoms sometimes. And that's what I think is really cool about it, because then we can always say, what's possible to improve?
Right.
How can I look at this in a way that there's nothing wrong with me, there's nothing I have to fix, but could this be better? I have a gentleman I'm working with right now, and he was already very mindful of, well, if my body ages and I want to mitigate aging, what if I could mitigate my voice aging, which you can.
Oh.
So that's kind of some of the things we're working on.
All right.
So, yeah.
You mentioned something about voice shaking when
Yes.
people are nervous.
Yes.
I was just at a presentation last week, and a person was talking. They're talking about their business, and I mean it was a small room. We're talking 12 people, 10 people, whatever.
Right.
Small crowd.
Right.
And you could hear shaking in their voice.
Yeah.
And I thought, I wonder if you could train that out of there, or is that more of a mental thing rather than a physical voice thing?
It could be both. So because of my background, one of the populations that I used to work with a lot is actually folks who ended up having voice tremor. So that is something that is neurologic, meaning just the same way someone could have a stroke, someone could experience ALS, someone could experience MS. Voice tremor is something they can't help. It's a neurologic thing. So the voice will start shaking. Now, typically, we tend to perceive this as the old age voice because it tends to show up in the later decades. But I'm always mindful of that when I hear someone shaking, to listen for, is this truly nervousness? Is this truly something that they're dealing with from their presentation skills, or is it something that they can't help? So that's the first thing. The second thing is, yes, it can be that they are nervous, that they don't know what they want to say, or they don't like being in front of crowds, but there are ways to train people through that. And it's really cool because a lot of times folks, again, want to go to the quick fix of, I have a presentation tomorrow. What can I do right now? It's like, well, that's a little...
Tell me 5 years ago.
Yeah, that's a little short notice, because think of how when we train our body, any athlete is going to look, 6 weeks, 6 months in advance. They're not going to expect their body or their nervous system to change overnight.
Right.
Now, anything is possible, and some people are quick learners. But remember, when we're trying to habitualize a new skill, it's something that we've got to get the whole body on board with. It's not just enough to be like, I'm going to power through and I'm not going to shake and I'm not going to sound nervous. That also doesn't convey usually the energy they're trying to. So it can go both ways.
So when you're coaching someone on that, do you touch on the, I don't know, I guess in this case, confidence or something of that nature?
Yes, and usually that comes to what do they believe about themselves? Like, how do they perceive themselves as a speaker? How do they want to be perceived? What historically have they experienced? Most of the time, there's some experience, whether it's initially singing, oh, I was told when I was in 5th grade that I wasn't a good singer. Like,
wow.
People say, you know, we run into all sorts of different messages growing up, but people say some really harsh things about, and people internalize that. Then we have things like people not even liking the sound of their own voice, so they don't want to speak.
You know, it's interesting you say that.
Yeah.
Because I just had an employee with call answering service.
Yeah.
We have a new client.
Yeah.
And I said, hey, employee, we need a few recordings for this client, the voicemail recording.
Right.
The on hold, we have a little thing where we just babble. It's essentially just instead of ringing or dead air or elevator music.
Right.
It's just something to entertain the person on hold.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. And it took her two or 3 days to put together these. We're talking, a voicemail message is like, hey, you know, you reached this company, leave a message, you know what to do kind of thing.
Right.
And I bugged her a little bit. I'm like, why?
Yeah.
What is the challenge here?
Yeah.
Because I gave you time to be off the phones to do this, so it should have been knocked out. 5 minutes.
Right.
Could have knocked it out. And she said that. She said, I hate the sound of my voice.
Can you imagine, James, though? Like that is like waking up every day in the mirror and looking at yourself and saying, I hate this.
It was so bizarre to me because I think she's got an incredible voice. That's why I hired her.
That's the thing, though, right? Exactly. Well, how we perceive ourselves is usually very different than how other people perceive us.
Okay,
and
that's
when
true.
It comes
Fair.
to voice, most people, because you're hearing yourself through bone in your ears and the air, hear something on recording, which is only through the air, and they are like jarred. It's like, that's not me. I don't know what that is. And they haven't had as much experience hearing themselves as the way you're hearing them.
Okay.
So yes, we have bias to what types of voices we like and all that, which is fine to a point, but also for a person to be that reticent to share her voice because she internally is not liking it, I find that that's going to actually show up in the message and the energy of what she's recording and what she's doing.
So fair, totally fair.
Yeah.
It's interesting you say that because in the recording, it was, I would say, 90% perfect, but there was a little hiccup. And the first thing I thought was, it's totally a confidence thing. Yeah. Totally a confidence thing. Yeah. Which, from my point of view, I'm like, you're smart, you have a cool voice, and you're in a smart, cool voice business. Right. So you have all the skills, so it should be no confidence issue. You're like a marathoner that's going to a 5K. This is no problem.
And yet, what
it's
beliefs
perception
and backstory, that's right, does she bring to the table?
I didn't know how deep to go with that, and I was
that's
like,
okay. And it's not something most people feel either comfortable with, or even that person is willing to address. They have to be ready, right? To say, wait a second, there's something underlying this. And then the cool thing about the work is that I encourage and help people feel comfortable in finding that natural voice, honoring it, listening to it, and doing things that they actually then enjoy about their voice. Right. But it's until they choose to make that change and that difference, it's them every day in a dissonant space. Okay. Right? They're internally saying one thing, but their voice is expressing a different thing. So they're thinking, oh my gosh, I hate this sound. I can't believe I have to do this. Nobody's going to like this on playback. And then trying to put on a voice. Sure. But if that dissonance continues, that only increases that misperception, that internal hate for how they're sounding.
Oh, that's strong. Oof.
Yeah, it is. When people say the word hate, that's a very strong word. Yeah. So I would cringe for them. It breaks my heart because when they say that, that is, again, a self-image piece that not many people think about, and yet it can be healed. It can be changed.
All right. Yeah. And so that's what you help people with? Yeah. And is this one and done? Like, hey, thanks for coming. You're all
Great
fixed
question,
now.
Yeah.
Or is this more like, hey man, if you want to train for a marathon, you got to come to
Yeah.
the gym more than once,
Yeah.
kind of thing?
More like the latter. There usually is at least anywhere from 6 weeks to 6 months that people need. Why? Habits take time to form. We know that even from the research. Habits are not a 21-day phenomenon, no matter what we've been told. On average, habits can take anywhere from 66 days onward to form. And then that's with the frequency, how much they're willing to prioritize the practice, and then just that initial, like getting over the hump of the awkwardness. I make people say silly sounds. Let's just be clear, right? Because we're going to do a lot of different things.
That's the business,
That's
right?
the business. So just seeing people kind of be like, what am I doing? Like getting comfortable with that matters. If your nervous system is like, no, thank you, that's going to be a lot harder learning curve, right? Than being like, okay, how can I baby step this? So for the most part, the people that I see the most success with are those who choose to dedicate anywhere from 6 weeks to 6 months. And that really comes down to when I speak with them, we kind of co-create what duration and what package looks best for them.
Okay.
But life happens too, right? We have things where folks are like, oh, I have the holidays, oh, I have this vacation. So I like the flexibility of that too, because like any athlete, we go back to, they're not going to do conditioning for a season.
Right.
They're going to learn the skills and keep conditioning. And yes, there may be ebbs and flows. Can we have maintenance periods? Can we have little reboots, things like that? But the sooner you begin to see yourself as a vocal athlete, the sooner you start to notice this is a way of being that I want to incorporate in my life, not just check that off the box and on I go.
Yeah, fixed voice. All right, we're all good.
Yeah, and that doesn't mean that it's us working that intensively the whole time. My goal is for you to have that toolkit, that independence, but also that trust that you've learned your voice so well, you know what to do when.
All right.
I think that's really powerful for people.
So a lot of this you do, or is it all? I guess you tell me. Is it in person?
Ideally, yes. Most of, though, I will say my business success initially came from folks online, virtually.
Oh, it did? Okay.
Because of the changes in the last 3 years and having to go online. A lot of my clients have been online, and that was an adjustment for me, to be honest. I am one who I need to hear the voice. I'm doing screenings. I like to feel and palpate things, what's going on. But also, like I said, it's very holistic. So we're doing different movements and whole body kind of approach to it. But I'm excited now to get back to more in person.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I really want to.
So you have an office?
I work from home right now,
Okay.
and I usually go to the person's house.
Oh, you do? Okay, I was just going to ask.
Yep. So one of my most recent clients, it was great. I go to her house. She has this great space in her basement, and then we would be able to do all the different exercises. Yeah.
So as far as equipment, is
Yeah.
it just your mind, or is it
It's-
microphone,
yeah.
speakers, headphones kind of thing?
Yeah, definitely grateful for my ears. It's a lot of the ears, and then usually things like having their homework, which usually I keep very digital now. Some things simply like a straw. Some of the exercises require a straw.
A straw, okay.
Making sure they're drinking something. There's got to be some liquid involved. But yeah, as far as tools, it's pretty minimalistic.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, that's super cool.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's great.
And so when you are helping someone remotely,
Yeah.
do you ever find, I guess now that I'm thinking about this, when they listen,
Yeah.
it's going through their whole body, whatever.
Right.
And when you hear it like we are now, it's
Right.
going through the air.
Yep.
But now you're introducing a microphone and speakers and software and the internet servers, whatever, compression.
You're frozen. I can't hear you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
All that stuff.
I've noticed it's gotten better. Some of the platforms have gotten better clearly over the last couple of years by necessity. But yes, there is a consideration for when I hear something, I do little extra checks for now what I want to have them try, what I'm listening for, and sometimes I often just have people straight up record a voice memo for me.
Oh.
So our phones all have the voice memo app, which has been awesome, and that's a much clearer signal. But I've been really fortunate because the platforms I use have gotten much better in their their audio quality.
Yeah.
But that's also with a lot of grace to both. I want the person to become familiar with what they're hearing, and if there's any concern at all, I'm always able to refer them to have that screening. Go see that laryngologist, go see that speech and voice pathologist in the clinic to get the scope, because we want to make sure everything is A-okay to begin with.
Sure.
So that's easy enough to do, even on a phone screening without any other tech.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
So you started your business, you got rid of the corporate stuff, you're on your own. What have been some of the biggest challenges that you've run into?
I would say for me, because I love to learn, shiny object syndrome.
Oh,
Actually, yes.
interesting.
So
Okay.
when I first started, and I had a great mentor who was able to kind of show me the foundations of how to build a business and what that looked like, that was really helpful. And I kept looking then for the next thing and the next thing and investing in this program and this mentor. And I've been really fortunate on the whole to have really great mentors and look at what I've implemented as successful. I can also look and say, was I just learning for the sake of learning because I didn't trust that what I was learning I could do?
Okay.
Or was it just that this was, me hoping that this next thing would help me take that next leap, whatever that looked like? And I think it's a combination of both.
Okay.
I don't think people really talk enough about the fact that you can take all the learning in, but you have to be able to implement it and trust that what you've learned is enough. And remember, one of the reasons I said that I started this is because, to me, when our self-worth is intact, we're going to be a whole different kind of level of performer.
Absolutely.
And so if that level of enoughness is messing with business investments, with implementation, it's very tempting to be like, well, it must be this next thing. I'll just buy this one more course. I'll just do this one more thing. And so that was my initial struggle. And so in the last year, I've really been able to let that go. I've really been able to release that and say what I know is enough, what I'm able to implement is going to be the thing that I'm going to put the focus on. And that's been awesome.
That's super cool.
Really awesome. Yeah. It's helped me finally hone and finish my voice health course project, which I've been working on for years. And that felt alone, just like, oh my gosh, like this is complete. I can now get this out into the world. And so it's those kind of moments where that struggle, I think, turned into more of a strength.
All right.
At this point. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
So do you have employees?
That would be my second struggle. I don't know how many of y'all other entrepreneurs out there have that, how to build the best team kind of situation. If you've ever experienced that, James, in your years of experience, I have no doubt. That is something that I am in the midst of a season of stretch, let's say.
Okay.
I have been fortunate to employ 2 different assistants over the last 4 years. And it's also time to look at, okay, what does it mean to get the right people in the right places and truly delegate? Mm-hmm. I like to think I can do it all myself.
Oh, we all do to a point.
Yeah, to a point. And so, because we want that vision to be, come to fruition. But teams, to me, has been a big struggle, actually. I'm still kind of finding my way through that. And it's a trust thing. It's a big trust thing for me to delegate, see it through, and be able to say, okay, someone's as invested, maybe not as invested as we are in our own. Right. I get that. But also just being able to trust that it'll be there, as a outlet for the long haul. I don't want to be a solo act.
Okay.
I want this to be a team approach. I want to have a support system in that way. And so it's in a changing season right now.
All right.
Yeah.
And is the challenge finding the people, or knowing how to look for the people, or knowing where to look for the people?
Both, all, because in that there's so many, levels of how far do you vet them, what do you can list out your lovely, expectations and tasks, and then what? It's just so different than like when I was in my clinical role, mentoring students, leading fellows, or fellows would come in, that was their first job, like that. I loved that.
Oh, nice.
I loved that. This is very different, I feel like, which is fascinating. So some people could say, well, you're still leading, it's still, guiding people, and it's different. There's just a different feel. So so I think right now, it's been knowing where to look, finding the right people, and as the hiccups come throughout the time, how best to reorient.
Okay.
And how best to make sure that is what I'm asking reasonable? If yes, how do we streamline it? So I think that's been really, really fascinating for me to wonder, are my standards too high? Or is it that I'm not?
Never,
I
too high.
appreciate you saying that, because I crave that efficient, like streamlined team where everything's going, and running smoothly. And at the same time, it's a matter of really finding that person who's willing to put in the work for it.
Right. So are these voice experienced people, or these are just people that know how to work a computer kind of thing?
Exactly.
Okay. I know how to copy and paste.
You'd hope.
I know what an email is.
Yes,
Something
exactly, exactly. So,
yeah. I don't, in that case,
yeah.
I would dare say that your standards are not too high. Okay. I feel like universally, just to get on my little complainer soapbox, that a lot of employees or people that are looking for jobs are going the route of the post office, which is it costs more, but the service is lower. So, and I feel like there's universal compromise where employers are tolerating it to a point, but
rather than trying to raise the bar.
it seems like we're circling the drain, like we're all, or a lot of the people that we see in the market, as far as employees are just saying accept it or I'll go away. The interesting thing with the interns is that they probably had a 3-month, 6-month internship.
Right.
Or if they left that,
right,
that internship kind of goes with the school season. So if they left that internship, they can't find another one for another semester or whatever.
Right.
So there's an obligation to be there.
Yeah.
Where an employee, if they want to find a different job, they just quit this one and within a few hours they have another one.
Go to another one. Yeah. So what, in your experience, how does one craft the best team?
Man, I don't have, I have an answer or answers, but I'm nowhere near having that all figured out.
It's a tough spot.
I would dare say that I have not met anyone that does.
Yeah,
because if you go to just about any business, right, they're having the same issues or similar issues. Right. And really quick, a long story that I'll make into a short one. Yeah. I had a problem with an employee, different business that I had. They caused some headaches with some clients. So I reached out to the clients to try to do damage control. Yes. And the funny thing, funny now, the funny thing is...
I'm able to laugh about it, yes.
Yeah, the funny thing was that when I called those clients up and said, hey, essentially it was nicer than this, but I said I had a garbage employee, did some not so great things. Yeah. I got to figure out what he did with your help so I'll make it right. Right. And what I got out of that, almost every single phone call was stories that were worse than mine.
Oh, wow.
So they're just like, oh, yeah, no problem. This is what he said. This is what's going on. This is where we left. And I'm like, okay, so I know how to make it right. And they said, this is nothing. And then they would tell me some employee story. Wow. And my first thought was like, oh, that's cool, right? That's cool. But then my second thought was, wait, this gets worse?
Right. Like, why are we going, like you said, to the lowest common denominator?
Yeah, it was bizarre.
Yeah.
So, and I joke with employees or potential employees when I'm interviewing them, saying we're essentially on a first date, and I may ask you to marry me after this first date. Yeah. And I talked to another guy that said he was on his 10th interview. And I'm like, 10th interview? Yeah. Who doesn't have a job by then somewhere else?
The processes have become much more intensive.
So it's interesting because I'm like, I can't do 10 interviews because it just feels weird then.
Yes, I think there is a happy middle ground, and I think it's important to make sure it's a good fit and that the skills are actually there. Yeah. I think that's the thing. It can be easy to inflate that. Oh, I can totally do that. I'm a really good learner. I'll learn anything. And it's like, no, I need it done and now, like already in the queue. So it's interesting to see where that disconnect maybe comes in for people, because especially if they are excited about it, and at the same time, it has to be an aligned fit. If it's not aligned, especially when it comes to the mission and the values, but if it's not aligned with, you said you could do this task, but it's not getting done, then there's got to be some hard decisions.
Yeah, I think it comes down to easy ones, right?
Yeah, or maybe easy ones. Yes.
Difficult conversations, easy decisions.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
So we so I guess to answer your question, I ask questions in interviews that are not typically asked. Ah, okay. And try to find or watch their reaction. Yeah. And it's not, there's no wrong answer.
Of course.
Like one of the questions, for example, is what is something that you used to believe that you no longer believe?
Ah, cool.
something like
great
that where you can
question.
get them kind of thinking. And it's not just like, what are your strengths or weaknesses kind of things. They've practiced that. Or they're like, I just work too hard, right? That's my weakness. Something like that.
Exactly. Oh my goodness. Yes, for those.
Something just bizarre. So
Right.
I ask questions like that
Right.
to see how they react and try to learn about them as a person.
That's a really good one.
Well, there's no wrong answer, but you
Right.
can learn what is important to them, what are their beliefs, what is their work ethic.
Yeah.
You try to, in the end, you try to find that.
Yeah.
Which is, you can't just come right out and say that or ask that.
Right.
Because they'd be like, great, it's phenomenal, best ever. Don't look at the last 3 jobs that I
I was
stayed
going
at
to
for
say,
2
we're going to
days.
do a trial period then and like see.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah.
It's very tough.
Yeah.
But kudos to you for growing. That's impressive.
I feel confident in the sense of now I understand what it means to focus on team, building a team, because there are things, that we aren't meant to get bogged down with. We've got to keep the momentum going, and thank goodness that it's possible to create a team, and at the same time, it's just a growing pain season.
Yeah, it is interesting.
Yeah.
You mentioned an opportunity there.
Yeah.
It is incredible.
Yeah.
Because I think I can throw an ad online, and in a day or 2, I'll have hundreds of applicants.
Yeah.
Majority are garbage.
Yeah.
But if I were to do this before, when there wasn't an internet, I got to go to the newspaper,
Right.
and wait a week for it to actually show up, and then people are going to call, and if I miss their call, and all this,
All the
whole
time.
stuff.
Yeah.
we wouldn't have the remote,
No.
the Zoom meetings or whatever and stuff like that, good or bad. So
Exactly. Exactly. It's remarkable what
Yeah.
we're able to do now, and I'm so grateful for it. And that is one of the reasons that taking the leap from corporate world was so enticing, to pave my own way.
Yeah.
And to see what's possible, to not be told it's always been done with this way.
Oh.
My least favorite phrase.
Fair.
And short of people saying I hate my voice, like that's something that I think is just so limiting.
Yeah.
And so yes, the resources that we're privy to, the capabilities, is just astonishing to me, and it keeps me grateful. So that keeps me moving in the days that you just want to lie
just
down
like
for
any
a while.
business, right? Any
Yeah.
business or any really relationship.
Yeah.
A business is a bunch of
It
relationships,
is,
right?
exactly. Your relationship with your business, your relationship with the people in your business, and in whatever capacity.
There will be
Absolutely.
challenges.
Yes.
Right? Challenging days, challenging moments.
Exactly.
And I always tell people nobody gets excited to go on a flat roller coaster.
Yeah.
So,
Exactly.
just accept that these are kind of the hills and the screaming part with the curves upside down.
Exactly. Yep.
It's kind of fun.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Oh, yeah.
There are days.
There can definitely be days where you're like, I get to do this. Like,
Yeah.
how amazing is that? And not everybody is cut out for it. And how does that phrase go? Like, entrepreneurship is self-growth on steroids.
I've never heard that before.
Yeah. Entrepreneurship
Interesting.
is self-growth on
Self-growth
steroids.
on steroids. All
And
right.
I would attest to that for sure.
Yeah, we're right there.
And I think that's worthwhile. And it's okay that it's not for everybody too, because to our pain point of teams, we need those supports.
Absolutely.
We need those skills, and we
Yep.
need people who are in that community with us. So I think that's exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brienne, well, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you so much, James. This is such a pleasure.
How can people find you?
The easiest way is to find me at www.yourvocalvitality.com. They can also find me on Facebook, Your Vocal Vitality, LinkedIn at Brienne Hennessy, and email is the easiest too. You'll find emails on all those sites. So I look
Nice.
forward to hearing from y'all.
And you can help people nationally.
Yes,
Okay.
correct.
All right.
Correct.
Super cool.
Yeah.
That
it's
is awesome.
amazing.
I learned a lot here.
I'm so glad.
Yeah, my throat hurts a little.
That's
but
We'll do a cool down afterwards. Don't worry. I'll help you out. It's all good.
This has been Authentic Business Adventures, the business program that brings you the struggle stories and triumphant successes of business owners across the land. We are locally underwritten by the Bank of Sun Prairie. If you could do us a huge favor and please that algorithm by giving it the big old thumbs up, commenting, and of course, sharing it with all your entrepreneurial friends, as well as those people you know that probably talk a little too much, which I think is just about everybody. But maybe I'm wrong. I never take the time to listen. My name is James Cademan, and Authentic Business Adventures is brought to you by Calls on Call. offering call answering and receptionist services for service businesses across the country, on the web at callsoncall.com, as well as the Bold Business Book, a book for the entrepreneur in all of us, available wherever fine books are sold. We'd like to thank you, our wonderful listeners, as well as our guest, Brienne Hennessy, the owner of Your Vocal Vitality. And Brienne, can you tell us the website one more time?
Yes, sir. www.yourvocalvitality.com.
Easy enough. Super cool. Past episodes can be found morning, noon, and night. The podcast link found at drawincustomers.com. Thank you for listening. We will see you next week. I want you to stay awesome. And if you do nothing else, enjoy your business.